Great.
And then once I get the link here, I have learned
Oh,
from many a stream that it's always good to go check and just make sure. Yeah, cool. So that's working. Although I don't know why that came through my speakers. That's weird because I'm supposed to be hearing everything through through my. But I don't think we're going to be using any system
do
audio
you
anyway.
do you hear me in your buds?
Yeah, I hear
Okay.
you, but
All right.
for whatever reason, um, okay, yeah,
I won't be rocking any music or anything through, or you won't, I guess,
yeah,
through your system. Okay.
and then I'm gonna blast everyone on Discord here and just say, God, I'm gonna tag you, Brian, with market.com on stream now. Blip, send it. Okay, cool. So we've got we're up on stream, and we've got your screen sharing with everybody. Okay, so we're looking at your screen right now, Brian, and
Okay.
yeah. So you and I were kind of talking about like maybe you'd show me through your workflow, or more to the point, show others who might
Yeah.
benefit from your workflow. It looks a little too heavy for my solo operation, but you seem to be liking it for your solo operation, so we wanted to
Yeah.
kind of get into that.
Okay. Yeah. So I won't do the whole like typical workflow, but I'll just kind of say it up front here. So typically the way I would, if this was in production and I was actually like working on the site and um, I kind of didn't want to be disruptive to the production site, and I want to test and work on things in a workspace that I can spin up and then make sure it's good and then commit and then maybe like merge a task branch back to main. That would be the typical workflow. So I would start with an issue in GitLab. GitLab has a really nice feature that from a fix thing. So I'll just actually here I'll do it. Why not? All right. So I'll do update Pocket pages. Okay. I'll sign that to myself. So this would be kind of a typical like, hey, I've got some work to do. And I may not work on it right now. It might just be a reminder to myself. When I'm ready to work on it, I like this thing in GitLab. It has a little create merge request. And what this does is automatically kicks up a task branch and a merge request to merge that into main. It'll automatically also close the issue number. So it closes number one, this is the first issue I've ever made. So in this project. And then I'll create the merge request. There's some options like, do you want to delete the branch when you've resolved the merge request? Do you want to squash your commits so you don't have, maybe it took me 15 commits to do this work and I only really want like one merge commit. So get that. So now I'm in the merge request. I'll switch context to the branch that I'm going to work in, and from here, because I have this Gitpod YAML file set up in here, and I'll go ahead and just kind of quickly go over what I've got set up here. It's got a few tasks built into it. So when Gitpod spins up the environment, it's going to run through the set of 3 tasks, and each task can have multiple commands. So the first task is to install and restore PocketBased from my production environment. So like I kind of want a snapshot of production to start working on in my development environment. So to do that, I'll go ahead and pull down like a particular version of PocketBased. I can fix that version,
Yeah,
unzip it, make it executable here. Then I run a backup script. I'll take a look at that in a second. Unzip that zip into PB data. And then this is a Gitpod thing. You can kind of send a signal that says, I'm done with the install PB action, like whatever that, you can name it whatever you want, but it's
yeah,
just like, I'm done with it. And then this is an await. So this thing,
yeah,
it won't start running until that is done. So it makes sure it's all there. Then I run Tailwind in watch mode. That builds my app CSS. Then I say I'm done with Tailwind setup, and then it'll go ahead and run like dev CSS just to kind of watch it and all of that. And then the last step, it waits for Tailwind to be done once it knows that the files are going to be in place. You can export variables here. So I'm saying like, hey, I'm in dev mode. And then npm run. And the dev mode thing, I can do something like, use a localhost source for my repository in dev mode, but then use the production database in production. If it's not dev, use production kind of a thing. So I
Okay,
can
so
kind of switch
the point of
between
GitHub,
them.
the point of Gitpod is to set up a remote development environment, right?
Yeah, in a consistent, like a pre-configured development environment with all the extensions that you want for the project, knowing what ports are going to open and what to do with those ports open, and then all the commands and like to initialize the environment and set it up for you each time you spin it up.
Yeah,
So
that's
this is not
interesting.
local.
So it looks like GitHub Actions, but it's like this is better than a Docker file to me.
Yes, and you can use
Yeah,
Docker images. So I could at the top say image colon and then name a Docker image, and it would actually use that image as the initial environment and then run any commands within that environment. So by
yeah,
default, it uses like I think an Ubuntu version, kind of LTS version of Ubuntu is like the typical install environment or workspace environment, and then it just runs these commands inside of that space. But you can use
right.
Docker images if you want. So, okay, so I have that set up, and then the one script I have in here is that backup script. So in here, I get PocketBased, I get a couple of packages here, FS. So I'll make a file name. I'll
Yeah, goes to your
go to
live
my
site.
market. I super user, and I'm using like environment parameters to FTP, um, get a token, and then like I delete the backup file name that's called backup zip. I then create another one,
Yep.
and then of the same name, and then I download that. I get that URL basically from this git download URL, and then I'll create a file stream and go get it, and then like download that file. And then if there's an error, it's a problem. So, what that
Yeah,
does is that pulls down like a zip of like right now, what's my
right.
production data, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
And so,
So kind of a
so that's
blend of
and I snapshot it and pull it down, and now I can work locally with whatever's live, right? Like as of that moment, I pulled it. So then, if I can mess with the database, I can do whatever I want, corrupt it, whatever, and I'm not messing with production at all. Like it's a separate
yeah,
separate
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So that's good. That's kind of I feel better about that. I had this S3 Git thing where I was using like pulling it from a bucket. I was trying to back up to the bucket and doing some of that stuff. This worked okay, but then I realized I could just use in this JS script, I could just make the
Yeah,
backup
just pull
file
it
and
straight.
download it directly. So I didn't
Yeah,
need to like back up to the bucket and then try to pull from the bucket and all that stuff. So that worked really good. And then that's part of the Gitpod. GitLab has its own CI/CD, so I'm like using latest node image. This is what I meant by like you have this image. That thing, same thing works in
right,
Gitpod.
right.
Kind of do the same reference, and then just like in npm install, do a deploy job, and like I don't really have this set up right now. This will deploy when it's main, like deploys to production. So um, I'm going to set that up a little bit better where it like will make a merge request deployment separate from production deployments and do all of that, but I haven't messed with that yet. Okay, so now that was kind of some preliminary stuff. So now that I'm in this context and I hit this Gitpod link, um, Gitpod now is going to use the context of the branch as the initial like environment of the source from my repo.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't have to change branch and do any of that there. I just kind of say I'm going to be working in this task branch. I have a preference set up right now to open it in VS Code on desktop, but you can open it in browser. And that's typically how I work. I was actually trying to, I changed this setting recently because I was trying to see if I could get it to open in cursor on desktop instead of VS Code, but they don't have like a cursor sort of direct integration yet. So you can connect via SSH and like have cursor connect to a remote workspace and do it that way. But
hmm
in this case, I typically just actually work in the browser. So that's something you can set in your user preferences in Gitpod and it'll launch it. So there it goes. It just spun up, pulled down, created a VS Code development environment, spun up, did all the tasks, spun up the site. This is the site, and I get my own kind of temporary random URL. This is
Yeah, and
the
that's an
my
environment
server.
variable, so you know how to connect to the back end that's being run under
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. Whatever opened at port 8090, it kind of opens that and then opens it in a new tab automatically. That was part of that configuration that I did, where it says
yeah,
open browser. You can say open tab, open browser, whatever. And that I like open browser because I typically will pull this off to the side, so I can like edit and then preview the changes as I'm editing. I can just see what's happening in
Yeah,
my
and that's
work.
why you wanted that live refresh.
Yep. And what's nice about this too is right now it's private, so only somebody authenticated like me can see this site right now. Like if you went to this URL, it wouldn't work for you. But if I click this unlock button, then if I give you that URL, you'll see, like if I'll put it in our chat here,
Yeah, can we try
in
it?
our Meet chat. So if you go to that URL, you should see the site exactly the same, right?
Okay, so let me try this.
And then
Where'd it
I'll
go?
do
Where's the
something
chat?
cool.
Hold on
Yeah.
here. So I'm going to copy this link, and then I got to get rid of this chat to put you back where you were. Okay, hold on. So for everybody watching, I just hit this. Okay, yep, I get it. I see it.
Now watch. So if I do, let's see, let me go into my pages here. I'll go to my index and I'll say welcome to the Glamis Market. I'll add another exclamation and save. So now push
Uh-huh.
the save. If I refresh, I get that. And if you refresh, you should see that change right now too.
Wait a minute. What did you just said push the save? You had to push it to the repo?
I just saved and I had to
Oh, okay.
refresh here because I don't
Okay.
have the live reloading working right now.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, you're
so you
just
see
you're
it.
just
Yeah.
editing in like a little self-contained development environment, and
Right.
I got to admit that's cool, man. I
And
got
that
to
what's
admit.
cool now is like if you're working with somebody else, like you've got a customer or client or something, and you're like working stuff out, and you're kind of working through design decisions. You can just like, hey, go to this URL. Okay, here, how about that? Refresh, and they just like see what it is right there, like in this environment, without having to like deploy it or do anything, out to my repo. So it's great for kind of collaborative work with, especially with designers as you're like coding or doing work. It's great, but
Yeah,
it's really
that's
cool.
cool. And
I
so
can
that's GitPod.
also This is Gitpod. I can also invite you. I can share from here and invite you in to work in my workspace. So we can both be working at the same time on the same files, like live editing the same files and seeing the updates. So collaborative
Can,
editing in the browser
can you
works.
send me? Can you send me a link? I want to try that.
Yeah. So it kind of warns you. It's like sharing your workspace also means sharing your access to your repo. Everyone with access to the workspace you share can commit in your name. So you're kind of working as me in my shared workspace. So if you make
Yeah.
changes, right, it'll commit as me or make changes as me, but it'll live share this. So I'll go ahead and do that. So it's now shared. Anyone with the link, I'll go ahead and copy to my clipboard and I'll give you that.
Okay,
And so
so
you,
I'm
you may need a
copying that link
Gitpod.
now.
You may need a Gitpod account. So you might have to like create
Let's
an
find
account
out.
just to log in, but
Let's find out what happens.
now be careful with that URL sharing it because anybody can come in and start working on I'm working
Oh,
on my
well, you're
I
gonna
can
lock
I
it back
can
down, right?
I yeah, I mean and it only lasts as long as this workspace. This is like an ephemeral workspace. As soon as this workspace shuts down, like that share link doesn't work. It's not a thing anymore. It's you have to be authenticated
Yeah.
to spin it up.
Okay, so
And I can stop it.
I do have to log in here.
Oops, shoot, I just unshared it. Hold on.
No,
Let me
that's
give you a new
okay.
one.
Uh,
I think it's the same. Oh yeah, it's the same URL.
Continue
So
with 10 hours per month. So Gitpod gives me 10 hours per month of editing.
yeah, basically using the workspaces for 10 hours total of like live time working in the editor. So,
That I would burn through
that's
that
like
in a day.
yeah. But the pricing is like pretty low too. I think I paid $9 a month for our whole team and we get shared 50 hours or something like that. And anybody on the team can use it. And for kind of lightweight work, like if you're not in here 8 hours a day, 7 days a week kind of thing. I mean, even then that's 40 hours, right? If you were doing 8 hours a day. So I think it's like a fairly generous low cost, but the free is 10. Most people I collaborate with, they're not in working for 10 hours a day, like on my project, right? They're just like working on their own stuff. So, but yeah,
Uh,
that's
okay, so I'm going to go open in browser.
yep.
Okay, cool. So I've got that. It just popped open that window too. So yeah, now I'm in here. So like I'm checking out your site and everything. And now wait, I thought you said you were doing Svelte for this one. This looks like
No, this one is I'm doing Pocket Pages with HTMX and like maybe Alpine or HyperScript.
Am
The Glennis,
I imagining our conversation?
no,
Hey,
the one that
Nick just jumped
this
in.
is, yeah, this GlennisIslandFerry.com is SvelteKit. That's the one that I made in SvelteKit.
Oh, going
And
on
I,
ferry. Okay,
yeah,
got
so
it.
this is like our ferry service that goes back and forth to our island. So I built this site. I don't own the site, but I built it for the guy who owns the domain, just
Yeah,
because I wanted to add a bunch of features that I
yeah.
wanted. So he was really
Okay,
nice and let me
so
do that.
so you are pioneering a Pocket Pages app with me because I know of like there's you, there's me, there's one other guy at least for sure who are like actively using Pocket Pages in kind of a like a semi production way, um,
Right.
and that's I mean that's cool, man. I like seeing this coming together, and I can now it's coming back to me like yeah you pulled a lot of this out of starter kits that I
Yeah, I
made.
use the Daisy UI starter and I think your auth starter. Maybe
Yep.
I took some code from those two to kind of get things rolling.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
did that in the last stream. I can't
Yeah.
remember when that part started, but it's been modified a bit since then. I'm starting to kind of reorganize the site and put things kind of how I want them and stuff like that. But yeah, so like I'm curious if you go into Page's site, index EJS, can you add a exclamation mark and save it?
Oh, I bet I can. Um, while while I'm doing that, Nick jumped on stream there, and Nick, buddy, I'm surprised to see you. I thought you were going your own way. Weren't you gonna? You were gonna build you were gonna build a Pocket Base killer. That's what I saw. He was. I don't know if you, Brian. I don't know if you saw our stream that we were doing the other day, but we were on there talking about scaling Pocket Base horizontally, and
Okay.
like replicating and stuff like that. And I was saying, ain't gonna happen with Pocket Base. There are too many technical obstacles in the way. Too many choices Ghani's made. Where it would just be really difficult to introduce replication to Pocket Base. And so Nick said, "I think I could do it." And I said, "You should.
Cool.
Yeah, you should because you'll be a hero if you do." And what I was talking about, Nick, I was thinking that you were going to go like fork Pocket Base and hack on it, but then I saw your announcement on X that you were just like making a whole new thing. So uh, leave a message in the chat there, Nick, to let us know how that's going. Okay, so I'm in here. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna add a second exclamation mark. And my first question for you is, did that already show up on your screen? Yes, it did.
Well,
Did
not
it?
the
No.
second, not the no. Once you have to save the file.
Oh,
So once
go.
you save it,
Okay, so wait. Go into index.ejs. All right, and I did welcome to Gwemys Market, and I put an extra exclamation point. So you're not seeing that yet. Okay, now I'm gonna hit save,
okay,
and
I just see it
now
instantly.
you
It
see
just
it.
came up,
Okay, and
and
I'm
if I
sure if I
refresh,
refresh,
I
yeah,
yeah
I'm sure if I refresh, it'll be there.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, man,
You can
that's
like
pretty cool.
collaboratively edit live on different files in the same file, whatever. It handles that pretty well. And now if I come in and I like stop sharing, I just clicked it. Now if you refresh, you should not be able to like see the repo anymore.
Oh, see the repo. Okay, yeah. Well, let's see here. What happens if I try to edit it again? Nope, the saving fails.
Yep.
Yep.
So you like I can temporarily kind of like give access while I'm working, have somebody come work on some stuff, or they can be working on their part, then we can
Yeah.
drop out. So it works great for kind of collaborative editing in the browser. Like right now, we don't have to go back and forth. If you're working in here and I'm working in here and you're kind of helping me with this project, I can be like, hey, can you come in here and work on this part with me? Invite you in with the link, make it active. We can work on stuff, and then be like, okay, we're done with that. So
Yeah, and
and then
that's separate from being able to view it because I can still view the site.
right, because that's sharing the port that's open. Like that's sharing this domain name over here and making that available to public. If I want to close that down, I would click this little lock icon again, and then if you tried reloading, it wouldn't be available.
Yeah. So I can see how for a company I mean, like, hang on. Let me go to Gitpod here. Gitpod.com, I assume.
.io, I think.
Oh, .io. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Yeah, let me just go here real quick. So if I wanted to, maybe it's in user settings. Is it like, where do I, oh, maybe here it is. Update profile? No. How do
What are you looking
I,
for?
I'm trying to upgrade here. Bill, it would be
Oh,
under
go to
billing?
yeah. Pull down your
Billing, credits, view usage. Okay, pay as you go, upgrade plan. This is what I'm looking for. I'm just
yeah.
curious about this. So I just want a pricing page. Gitpod pricing. Let me just try that. Pricing. Here we
Yeah,
go.
they did change this a little while ago to this kind of pay as you go thing where you pay like $9 a month for 1,000 credits, and then after that you get charged like 0.036 dollars per credit. And I don't know what the credits map to. I think it's like a certain amount of time. I'd
Okay,
have to look at that,
so here
but
we
I
go.
haven't
So
exceeded it for my team, so that's nice.
for a small business, let's say we have like 10 engineers. We onboard 5 new ones a year.
Yep.
This cost calculator is, we don't pay well. We pay 66 a year. Hour spent. No, that's not a pricing calculator. Okay, so yeah, it's a little difficult to understand like what this thing costs. I can't really.
Yeah, let me see what I have here. Okay, I have the subscription. Yeah, I just paid $9 a month for that. And that doesn't, I can't really, I don't think I can make a change. Let me see. Let me go back here. Update limit. Let me see what this. Oh, there I just put in how many credits per. Oh, you could, so you could hard set a limit to like, so if it went crazy, you wouldn't go over a certain amount. So basically, I can overshoot my credits by some amount, by like 500.
Yeah, that's interesting. It makes me suspicious that like if you were to use like, okay, I would need, if I were to use this full time, I would need at least 200 hours a month because I'm always doing stuff. And I'm curious, like, what that would add up to. It probably wouldn't be feasible for me just as a solo developer, I'm guessing. But because I bet that would be a couple $100 a month or something like that. But for a team, I mean, yeah, spending a couple $100 on your engineer every month, like that's cheap.
Yeah, I was trying to find. Let's go with free. Well, I already have that. Yeah,
While you're
that is,
looking
they
at
don't make
that,
that obvious. That's interesting.
while you're looking around for it, I'll just update people on the chat here. So Nick is saying before he builds his Pocket-based alternative, he needs to get native access to SQLite's data change notification hooks. Yeah, Nick, I was thinking about that. We should talk about that on a stream, Nick. When you come on stream, whenever you decide to, we should talk about that because I would definitely do a couple technical spikes just to see what's feasible and so for example, are the SQL, even if you can get access to the notification hooks in SQLite, is that going to give you high enough resolution detail about what events occurred that you can do the kind of replication you want to do? Because there's data replication, which that's what Terso solved, but then there's more kind of like business logic replication, and those are higher level abstractions, and you may not be able to capture those simply from SQLite events alone. So it would be interesting to like think through and talk through. But yeah, if you want to do that sometime, you're totally welcome to. Yeah, build a clone around the Bun API. So right, so you're kind of thinking like, see, and here's what would be good. And by the way, Nick, there is another. There's like a Pocket-based kind of wannabe thing. I think it might be written in Rust or Z or something like that. But There's another one that's out there that claims to offer the full Node.js runtime as its scripting environment. So you might kind of check that out too. But also just making one in Node.js instead of in Go or something like that could probably be beneficial to a lot of people, especially if they could just import that as a library in their server-side, Next project or server-side SvelteKit project. Just import it as a library and use it. Like that would be killer if it added all the REST API routes and everything like that. So, okay. Anyway, that was Nick's in the chat talking about his plans, but yeah, what you got, Brian?
Oh, yeah. So it looks like it's basically 16 cents an hour.
16 cents an hour.
Yeah. So
that would only be $30 a month for me.
Yeah, if you were doing the 200, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually affordable even for a solo dev.
And it's like it only runs when you have workspaces running. Like you're only getting charged when you're actually working. So if I shut this down, it stops counting, right? It stops like charging me. And so what I've done, like as part of my, typical sort of workflow, is that as soon as I'll use task branches, I'll go in there, I'll work on something, and when I'm done, I just stop the workspace, and then it stops, and I'm not getting counted, and then if I get back in and work, so I try to be mindful of like I don't want to be just leaving this up and going to the bathroom and like just shut it down, because as soon as you spin it back up again, you've got where you left off. And another thing that you have here is like some historical workspaces. So in different like branches or different projects or whatever I'm working on, will have their own little workspace ID. And if I can go back, and jump back into these, I think they last for about 2 weeks. Like if I stop one and I just leave it alone for about 2 weeks, it kind of lingers and then it'll disappear. It becomes like history. I have contacted support in the past because I forgot that I had made a bunch of changes in one branch on one project, and I didn't commit them back to my repo in the branch, and I had to go contact them. I was like, hey, can you go get this workspace back for me? And they're like, yeah, we actually have an additional buffer period on our side that we like can save it before we just sort of like trash the data associated with the workspace. But and that was
a little like soft delete
later. Yeah, exactly. So if this is shut right now, it's running. If I click on this, I can go right back in to that workspace. And actually, I'm going to change one other thing too, because I want to change my user settings so it quits prompting me to. Yeah, so here I can say like I want to typically load here in the browser, and then like what theme you want and some other stuff. You can also launch in like IntelliJ, Golang, PyCharm, all of these desktop environments, and even in terminal, like in the browser, or VS Code desktop. That's where I was trying to get Cursor to work and like see if I could pick Cursor and then have it launch Cursor locally connected to the remote workspace. And as I'm editing and saving, I'm actually saving in the workspace and committing from there and everything. So if you wanted to do a local editor, but I think the VS Code editor in the browser is pretty good, but it doesn't have like you use a lot the Cursor AI tools and stuff like
that. Cursor integration would be cool. Here's another thing I'm thinking about.
And there is a task for that too. There is already like a feature request to like, hey, make Cursor work. So I'm sure that'll become available sooner than later.
I want to ask a question here. Well, I'm not going to share my screen with you, but I'll just ask the question. So I've got, let me see how many projects I have related to PocketBased right now. I have 38 PocketBased projects, PocketBased related in one way or another. Now that's 38 different repos, and in some cases 38 different mono repos. So we're talking, a lot of different code in various states of whatever, and I will frequently link to my local copy of a package that's in a different repo, but I'll link to my local copy of the package so that I can reference it as I'm working on something locally. Um, and I'm wondering how Gitpod would handle that, because there's a lot of times I need to work concurrently on separate packages. They are not part of the same repo.
Right. Right.
Curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that you would launch a workspace for each repo and just have them in different tabs.
Yeah,
So you
but
could like
then
switch between the tab and like work on that project in that repo.
but then how
For
would
the,
the other environment get the update to it? Because that, like, I'll do a symlink to, between the packages.
yeah, locally.
Yeah,
Yeah, my guess is you'd almost have to like point it at their like point it at the repo or a branch in a repo that you're working on and
yeah,
say like pull that down. You can open up more than one. I think you can open up more than one maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I know one thing that I've done is like I've um what is it in Git? You can do like Git submodules, I think, where it'll like pull
yeah.
Git repos as like a submodule of a repo and then sync
I was
those
just
up and
gonna
it pulls
say,
files in.
yeah,
I think
you
that
could
would
probably,
probably be how I would do it.
yeah, you probably have to do it as submodules, which
And then you can
wouldn't be bad
refresh
anyway.
that. Yeah. Because I
Yeah,
think from there
because
too, you can make changes and commit back to those individual repos through the submodule connection, right? I think so.
right, and it also, I mean, yeah, because doing a symlink to the package is a double-edged sword, because then
Mhm.
every local project is referencing that same change you just made. Whereas here, if you did it as a submodule, yeah, that might actually be a
That's
better
probably the way to
approach.
go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
And
this is cool, man. I like
we are doing
you're
that in
very
like one of our other projects. We're doing like we have a Python package repo that like gives us a whole bunch of like Python utilities, and we use that as a Git submodule to pull that in and make it like part of our sort of workspace file system, so that the one project can reference files and scripts, those Python scripts and stuff in that other submodule, and it just makes it all part of like the local workspace. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
probably how.
really interesting. Like, uh, I mean, there is you are you presenting a compelling case for this. I can see some areas where I could benefit from being able to run multiple development environments concurrently without having to compete for port usage or something like that.
Mhm.
Sometimes I run into that stuff, but actually, I'm thinking about some of the Golang that I'm working on now for kind of what I'm thinking might become the next gen of Pocket Host.
Mhm.
It would be cool to be able to uh, just have a live URL for testing purposes. Because basically, I can I can create a an edge node as a git pod,
Mhm.
just like an ephemeral edge node, and test it out while the rest of the network is still running. And so
Yep.
that's compelling to me.
Yep.
I'm gonna
Yep.
have to look at this more. Yeah.
Cool.
Do you
Yeah.
get a
Let me
commission for any of this, or
no, I wish. I've sold a lot of people on this on using
really?
this tool. I'm like, come on. Well, so I mean, I end up just including it in most of the projects I work on because I don't want to pull anything locally to my computer. I work on different machines. I travel. I just want to like be able to just spin up a workspace in my browser whenever I want to work on something and not have to worry about permissions and SSH keys and getting things all synced up and all this stuff. And that was another thing I was running into. I'd work across 3 or 4 different repos, and I have like a personal Git pod, a personal a personal GitLab, a work GitLab account, a personal GitHub, a work GitHub account. I had like different kind of accounts for different projects that I worked on, depending on like my role in the project. It was like personal or professional or whatever. And and so every project I'd have to like switch my credentials, in the terminal and like make sure I was authenticated as the correct user to that project and pull it down and make sure I had the right versions of Python and all the, I guess Python's not as bad because you can do environment VNs, but maybe there's different node requirements, different node versions or whatever. So I just felt like I was always like messing with these setups for that particular project and making sure I had all the right state in my local computer. And with this, I just have the state as part of the workspace that I pre-configured. And then if you jump in and work on it, you get the exact same workspace. You don't have to worry about like what version of node's installed and what version, if you have all these utilities and the right files and you just launch the workspace and you get exactly what I get and we can work in that same workspace, right? So it really helped
Yeah.
for some collaborative. I work on a project called the Good Docs project.
Yeah.
I'm one of the project steering committee people. So with that, we have people from all over the world who, will contribute to different things, working on the website, working on the templates project. We have a bunch of different workspaces and a bunch of different projects and stuff, sub projects. And so for those that have some kind of a, need some kind of a development environment or editor type setup for working on that project, then I typically try to go in and set up a Git pod so that all you need is just a GitLab account and a Git pod account, and that's already authenticated with your GitLab. So now it knows how to handle your credentials, and then you can just launch the workspaces and work on the project. So for kind of like sharing a consistent developer experience across like a group or an organization or with other collaborators, it's like just like such a great like tool. So anyway, I've been using it for quite a while and I end up using it. So then eventually somebody's like, well, what's this Git? Why do you got this file in our repo? Like, what does this thing do? And what? So I end up like, oh yeah, well, this is how this works, and it spins up whatever. So, and you can use it too. Just like click this button in the UI and it works.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Hey,
so
I'm
okay,
looking here. They do have some cursor integration. It says that you can you can use the Gitpod CLI.
yeah,
You just need the
yeah,
environment ID, and then you can launch it in cursor that way.
yeah, as like a remote, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there's a way. Yeah, you would. I know in VS Code and Cursor, I think there's like a little icon that like you can connect to a remote workspace. You can do that as well, where you just
Yeah.
connect to the
SSH.
remote and it SSHs in. The one thing I saw somebody comment on is that it doesn't look like the Gitpod workspace. Like it doesn't seem to be aware of that it's like being actively used by through the SSH connection, so that sometimes the workspaces will spin down because they're like, oh, nobody's like editing them or something. I don't know if that's a
Mm.
bug, maybe they've resolved it or not, but it seems like if you're working on files and you're committing and making changes to the files in a workspace, it should be active. So I don't know, maybe that's a bug, but anyway.
Yeah. I
Um,
remember this other thing called like Cloud9 or something like that. There
mm,
was some kind of cloud Visual Studio, VS Code Cloud. I think it was like Cloud9 or something. Uh, but it was like the same kind of hosted VS Code type thing.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean these cloud editors have people have been working on these for a while, and it seems like VS Code is has kind of won the hearts of a lot of people because
Yeah.
it works really well in the browser.
Yep.
Um, yeah, very cool,
Hey,
man. I gotta say,
that
I'm.
fix worked, by the way. so
Sorry,
what
what?
my Yeah, so it wasn't. Remember where I had said something about like this is not working, like I'm not getting the providers from here, and you were like, "Oh, I fixed that in a new version of PocketBased
Oh
library."
yeah, yeah. Somebody
So I
posted an
just
issue about that a couple days ago.
updated those to the TS and the JS file and refreshed, and now my little point is showing up here on the map and some data about that. So I'm able to get the provider data.
Well, you know
So
what?
that's cool. Good job.
Maybe after this stream, or even during this stream, if you want to, this would be kind of cool. We could do it right now. Spin up a Git pod, and
hmm
let's try upgrading to the latest version of Pocket Pages, version
Okay.
15, and I can
Okay.
do it for you.
You can drive. Yeah, you can drive, or you can edit too. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, let me commit this, and I'll do that last part. So I'll kind of show the shutdown. So I got it fixed. It's working. Like I'm getting some data again, and this is my kind of joke location. This is about where I live, and I have a wrote up a silly description about how I have very wet hydric soil here. So I kind of made a joke about like we soak the roots in everything we plant. We get like no unnecessary drainage on our land and all this kind of. So all right,
Yeah.
um, all right. So I'm going to commit these changes up, and I'll say like updated Pocket Pages, right? So
Yeah.
then commit all that, sync. So that pushes up to remote, and like now I'm done. I just updated it. So then what you can do is go here and then git pod stop workspace, and this like shuts it all down. So now that
Yeah.
workspace is shutting down. And if
Sweet.
I come back into my repo and refresh, I'll see my latest updated Pocket Pages. The Gitpod, the Gitpod thing is doing its CI/CD thing over here. But now I want to merge this to main, so I'll go back in here, get to that merge request, and then and I only had one commit, so it's fine. 3 changes, I can review that. We do a lot of this with a lot of the projects, is we'll go through and do most of the projects I work on, we have some kind of like merge restrictions, like it has to be approved by other people in the project and some like code review stuff. So you can do all of that here. But
Yeah. Always a good idea on a team.
yeah,
People come up with good feedback.
yep. And then so I'll go ahead and it's finished. So if I refresh this now, 2 things. Usually you got to mark it as ready. So like this is not draft state anymore. So now merging is now allowed. And now I can like merge that branch. So when I do this, it's going to close the issue and it's going to delete the branch. So if I come back into my issues, I won't have any issues. If I go into branches, I should only have the main branch. So it kind of cleans up after itself when you merge to main and gets rid of that history.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I'm back in main. Now main is deploying. It's running through its thing, which is this deploy main CI/CD script, and I can kind of see what's happening with that deployment. So I have that in GitLab too. That's my CI/CD tool to deploy, build and
Yeah, and so
deploy for me.
that's actually pushing it out to Pocket Host then, right?
Yeah, correct. So I think
So
let me
what
see. Let
what
me see
command?
exactly what I'm using for that.
Yeah, like what command are you using to do that? Are you using that little FIO tool?
No, I install npm install. Oh, upload with FTP. I do npm run deploy. And what did I do for that? I think I've used an FTP deploy. I use your host username password. So I'm pushing it up through FTP.
Oh, okay. There might be a more efficient version of that, but actually FTP deploy is what we use under the hood anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I'm just kind of doing it directly. like,
Yeah, and it's the same sync state JSON and everything, so yeah. Yeah, cool.
so that's it.
Where did you find out about FTP deploy?
Honestly, I don't remember. I have to go. I might have been looking for just like, how do I think I just Googled like node FTP deploy or, FTP deployment tool or FTP tool or something. And I found FTP deploy and it seemed like it would do exactly what I wanted. So I just used it.
Yeah,
I think.
because there are. Let's see here in our starter kits, which I just rearranged all of the docs, so I'm trying to find out where it is. There's deployment guide. Let me see here.
Maybe you documented it.
Maybe I didn't. I don't think I did though. I documented a higher level tool that's like it's the Pocket Host CLI, but
The
inside the Pocket,
FIO.
yeah, inside FIO
Mhm.
we use FTP deploy, and I was just curious if I mentioned it in here because that is another good option for people. Yeah, cool. Well,
Okay.
create a new branch. Call it
Yep.
Pocket Pages
I
15 or
got it.
something. Okay.
Yeah, I'm working on it right now. So let me go ahead and launch an environment and I'll get that shared and we can start working on it.
Also, while you're working on that, I'll just give another little plug here to Piers with Dose Diary, who was on stream a couple weeks ago. He just launched Dose Diary today. He has a waiting list of like 400 or 500 people, something like that.
Wow.
And he said he's got 60 users already, which I don't think means 60 lifetime deals, but it could. I bought a lifetime deal from him just this morning, and I know a couple other people, a couple other of his users did too. But yeah, he's just like right now today, as we speak, he's launching Dose Diary.
That's awesome. I actually talked to two friends last night at dinner. We were talking about PEPs, and I was like, hey, there's this app, and they're like, oh yeah, I saw you posted about that on Facebook, that like they were looking for testers and whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, you got to go get, I don't know if they're still testing or if it's if they're live yet, but you should go use it because they're about to start using peptides. And I was like, this tool is pretty good at like tuning dosing and kind of looking at your effectiveness over time and tracking your goals and stuff. And they're like, oh, that would be great. We want to use that. So like maybe there'll be two more users. That's a couple of friends of mine from here in town. So
that's cool, man. Yeah, I really, one of the things I love most about PocketBased is just what we have going on Discord. Like, it's such a good supportive community, and people are making apps and launching things, and I just love seeing that. So I'm really, like, it's very fulfilling to be a part of a supportive dev community like that. So anyway,
that's awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Kudos to you for having something that attracts good people that are nice to each other. I mean, I do think there's something about that too. Like, kind of people who are early, they're sort of self-selected to be like interested in something and like wanting to be kind of collaborative. And it's almost more like in later stages of a project where people start expecting things like, oh, this should be a certain maturity, and why aren't you responding to my request, and like getting kind of more toxic about stuff because there's not that initial like we're part of something together feeling. It's almost just more like I need this thing to work for me, and what's wrong with you for not, and I'll see that in like I've been part of a lot of big open source projects, and I kind of see that transition over time. It's like that early phase is so like happy go lucky and good collaborative, good work together thing, and then it just kind of evolves into like this is a commodity and people just want it, and they're demanding and kind of rude, and it scales, especially if it's popular, and then you get like instead of 50 people, it's like 50,000 people might be interacting with the project or more, right? And then it's like, who knows? There's no personal feel to it anymore. And I think on developer side too, I mean, you only have so many hours in a day, and if everybody's like, hey, my project needs this fixed, or and you're just getting this onslaught of demands for people who want the thing to work right, but they want it now, and the open source spirit kind of fades away like, over time.
Yeah, I think you're really right about that. And like right now, it's still small enough that I can take time out to like help people with their individual little problems that often don't even have anything to do with Pocket Host or PocketBased. It's just like programming architecture or technical decisions and things like that. And that's really fun. But you're right. I mean, if there were 10 times the number of people, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Right. Right.
So
I'm honored to be early enough to be able to hang out with you on stream and chat.
Yeah, man.
In another 2 years, like, you'll be untouchable. Like, where is he? I don't know. We haven't seen him. He just like comments once in a while in Discord, and then just he's working on it. I hope not. I hope it stays super positive. I can,
Me too. Well, I mean, and I've kind of cultivated that because like there have been just a couple people who came in with sort of, a vibe that I didn't want to perpetuate in Discord. And I booted them. That's only happened a couple, like literally maybe 2 times, 3 times, something like that. But so there's been a little of that, but overall, I think everybody right now is just kind of like an early adopter. They're looking for, some kind of, a lot of people are just, doing solo stuff like what we're talking about right now.
Right.
And they're looking for something different. they don't want all the other stuff, and that makes it kind of nice too, because everybody's here, for that sort of pure reason. Nobody's been kind of forced into it yet, or inherited a project where it's like, I don't even like PocketBase.
Why
And
are we using this and not Supabase or some other like solution that they have in
yeah,
their head? And yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
you're right. It probably is a luxury right now, and I mean, there
Enjoy
there
it.
are there are even some like baby steps getting away from it, because like I turned on that hard paywall a while ago,
Yep.
and like that's an example of every once in a while, like just this morning, somebody came on, and they were like, hey, what happened? This used to be free the last time I was here, it was free, and now what's going on? And you know and
Was that the one that
uh,
was like, I'm using it for academic work or something? I saw some thread about like as a
yeah,
student
yeah,
or something.
Bandroid.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he's cool. He's OG. He's been around for a long time, but he's always been, just like a very casual kind of free user. And now it's like, well, you have the instances that you have, but you can't create any new ones unless you want to, sign up and
Contribute.
pay. And then and I'm torn about it, because it's like, I don't think it's hurting. I don't think it's hurting the Pocket host's revenue to let the free riders come along, because like Bandroid's not somebody who would pay probably anyway.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's his situation. But I think there are a lot of people where, I mean, we are getting way more signups than before. So people are definitely paying who wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would encourage you to not feel like that's any imposition. I mean, yeah, definitely people will say, well, I would prefer free, right?
Yeah,
Like free is cheaper, but free comes with a cost, and that cost is taking away your resources, your time, and your, you know, like the resources you'll have available to maybe like fund yourself to work on this full time, or maybe pay for somebody else to come and help and contribute, or upgrade server. It's like there's nothing is truly free, and if you try to spin this up yourself, you'll quickly learn that there's hosting costs and time costs and everything, and so you're kind of like, the way I look at it, I'm exchanging some money for convenience and time, and it's going to save me time to just spin up Pocket Host instances and not have to like do updates and manage like infrastructure and mess with all that stuff. So like, that's I came in with the Flounder thing, and like, because I'm like, that is a killer deal. Like I would spend more than that a year, like with my own services running and paying for everything all together. Like it's probably the first year I'll pay for itself. Kind of that's the way I was looking at it. So um, yeah, I think you have to value your time. I do consulting work, and like on the side of my day job, and yeah, people would love it if I would do everything for them for no cost, but it takes time away from my family, it takes time away from other
mm-hmm.
projects or other things I want to work on. And so I can justify that expense of my time and my life if somebody's contributing to me in a way that is meaningful to, other activities. Like I want to use that money to go travel or do something else. Like there's an exchange of value. So I almost feel like people who don't want to pay for something, it's like they're basically saying like, I don't value you or your time or the resources that are available that you're making available through your project. And if they don't find value in it, then don't pay for it. And like go find something else or do something else. So anyway, I'll not rant about that, but
No,
I,
no. I mean, that's kind of, I land on that same soapbox.
yeah, yeah,
Even
exactly.
in that conversation this morning, and I know Bandroid's cool and everything, but there is a little bit of a message in there of like, I don't actually value what you're doing here.
Right, right.
um, and so it's kind of it turns me off a little bit to have those conversations. um,
Hmm.
Especially when there's like, when they persist in asking repeatedly and in different ways, like, how is there any avenue that I can, and that's why it's like, no, it's a paywall.
Right,
Like,
right.
you can sign
Well, and
up,
I
you can
think
see what it's about and everything.
the way for them to learn, to discover the value is to just go do it yourself. And
Yeah,
you can trade your time and effort for managing all that stuff yourself and see how that goes in the long run. And like, do that. And then think about what you've just spent to do that compared to what you would spend if you just like paid for the service and used, clicked a button and had an instant spin up. Like there's a lot going on there that they don't have to figure out and spend time on. So or
Yeah.
repeatedly manage or improve it over time. Like you're doing stuff with Pocker and other stuff and trying to improve the service and make it better. Like, are they going to spend that time doing all that work too, and like figure out how to improve everything or not? So, yeah.
Yeah, if I've learned
Anyway,
anything from all of this,
good for
it's
you.
the hosting is not easy. There-
No, it's a pain in the ass. Like, and that's why when I saw the founder option, I was like, damn, I'm the only thing that upset me is I wasn't a founder, like that I didn't get to it sooner. Like that was the only, I was like, dang it, oh man, I just missed it. But whatever. So
yeah, yeah. It's they're pretty similar.
yeah, yeah, no, I
And
know, yeah,
and you don't need
but it
the
was just like,
girlfriend
oh, I would
anyway,
have
so
right, yeah, that's right. All
um
right, so you should have a link in chat
oh
to the
okay.
workspace.
Let me
Yeah.
go find it.
So yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna grab that link, boom, copy the link, put it back where you are so people can see you. Huh. Okay, people can see you again. So now I'm gonna just open that link, and it's asking me if I want to open VS Code. I don't. I'm just gonna open in the
You can do
browser
it in the
here.
browser.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
won't even try to like mess with cursor this time. Okay, so the website's up. It's looking good. Can you see my screen, or maybe I should
I don't
maybe
see
I
your
should do
screen. I'm
that.
just seeing
Hold on
myself
here.
presenting.
Okay, so I'm gonna share.
But I shouldn't need to see your screen, right? Because I'll see you editing in mine.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, unless you just kind of want to see how I'm navigating around and stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
I can stop sharing and just watch. I'll see it now that you're working in my project. I'll stop presenting.
okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right.
So let me see here. Show all windows? No, that's not. What's happening here? Share. Oh wait, share a window. That's not what I want. Hold on here. Let me try this again. So I'm going to share. Allow share screen. There we go. Yeah, share entire screen. Blip. Okay. You can see my screen now, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, great. So here I am I'm in GitPod,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going down to right now. You have Pocket Pages in this. It's just you just have the whole bundle here, right? This is going to get replaced with just a simple require Pocket Pages like that. That's all that's going to be. And then this DTS, you never did need it. I mean, if you want to keep it in there, I find that
You can delete it if you want.
yeah,
I tend to not mess with it too much, or I mean, I haven't really noticed it yet.
yeah, it can help with like when I'm using cursor, uh, it'll kind of dig in there and like learn the types and stuff like that, and gives it little hints. But then, okay, so then the other thing we're doing is,
So you can open your terminal. You'll see like 3 little terminal icons stacked. It actually has 3 terminals running right now. If you click on one of those 3, it'll
oh,
switch
I
to
see,
terminal.
I see. What's this one here? How do I get this thing out of
That's
the way?
just
There
for
we
ports. Yeah.
go. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Yeah, so I'm going to open a new terminal, and let's see. Yeah, we're in the root, right? Okay, and are you
Yep.
using NPM? Looks like you're using NPM.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to install Pocket Pages latest, and that should be 15.1. Let's see if it is. Didn't say, but I bet it is in here. Pocket Pages, yeah,
I think
15.
I was going to say, I think I already had that. I had that or maybe I didn't. I know I had the PocketBased JSVM. I don't remember if I
Yeah, that's okay.
had it.
Oh
No, I did not. No, I had it at 13.3. So you just updated to 15.1. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And then I know that there's an issue where there's an issue of a missing dependency. So just temporarily, I'm going to go npmi PocketBased log because that's the bug I just fixed locally that I haven't pushed out yet. Pocket Pages depends on PocketBased log. Oh yeah, and I guess these actually can be they can all be dev dependencies. That's fine. We'll just do it that way. Cool. So now package.json is fixed. Let me just list node modules here. So yep, we got PocketBased, PocketBased EJS, PocketBased JSVM, yep, PocketBased log, PocketBased node, Stringify, yep, Pocket Pages, Pocket Pages plugin, yep, okay, yeah, I think we have everything. It may work out that this just works. Okay, yeah, not found. So now I need to be able to look at the log files here. So let me see which terminal is that.
My guess is that when you
it exited.
made those changes, it crashed. Yeah, it said value is not an object, but undefined, it requires something. So try running. Yep. Okay, I got that.
Okay, no member PD. So that means yeah. So you're using one of the plugins now. So down here, so I've split some of these things out into optional plugins so that not everybody has to load the whole kitchen sink to use Pocket Pages. And you're using the JSDK plugin, which is right here, the JS SDK. This is the one that has the PB in it. So we're going to copy that, and we're going to go back into our window here.
And is that like the recommended way to do it now? If I'm doing like script tags and I want server-side like calls based on authenticated users and all that, is that?
Yeah, if you want to use the Pocket-based JS SDK server side, it's now a separate plugin. So okay. I'm installing it here, right? And then now that I've installed a plugin that doesn't come stock with Pocket Pages, I have to go into config.js here, and this is interesting. This is doing like an export default. I didn't even know you could do that because that's not CJS. This works though. It can parse that. I didn't know that. I didn't know Goja could parse this syntax export default. Oh, it's not inside Pages. That's why. Yeah, so if you move this inside Pages like this, that's where it's supposed to live. It's supposed to live in the Pages root. Now I can almost guarantee that's gonna cause some kind of, when it attempts to load that module, it's gonna say invalid module. But let's just find out if it does here. So okay, object has no member PB. I'm surprised it got that far though. That's really interesting to me. Do you know what I'm talking about right now, Brian? Your config.js? Yeah. I didn't even know that Goja could support this syntax, and actually, I'm not sure it can. Let me restart the server here. It really like surprises me that it even loads, but that's cool that it does. So we'll continue on here. How come it pops a new one every time? Why is it popping a new window every time? Like every time the server starts. Watch this. I'll start the Pocket-based server, and it opens a new window.
Yeah. I think because I have that open browser set, so every time it sees that port open up again, it opens up a new browser tab.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Got it.
That's because of like responding to port opening. If I didn't have that in the Gitpod config, then it would basically prompt and it would say, hey, port 8090 opened up. Do you want to open it in a new browser or whatever? So it'd be like prompting you of how you want to handle that port opening.
Yeah.
But by default, it just throws open a new tab. So yeah, that can be a little annoying to like keep closing tabs because every time you spin it up, it opens up a new one. But it's handy in the first time when it works because it spins up and opens a tab and then it's your site. is there already.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
yeah.
I see that your live host URL is HTTP. That's actually going to do a redirect
Oh,
to HTTPS, so I'm just going to change that.
oh yeah. Yep.
But here's what I was where I was headed is uh,
Honestly, right now I can't even remember why. Is this a config for Pocket Pages that if you
yes,
pass a host data, it will use that? Maybe that's where I
yes,
got that.
it is, and that moved into the JS SDK plugin. So, for
Oh, okay.
example, in fact, I'm not even sure if it's in the documentation here. I'm going to have to update the documentation because that host option comes from JS SDK. And let me just very quickly make sure that I actually did that because this is all like fresh today stuff. Yeah, it's an option in in the JS SDK. So here's how things are going to change. We're going to say plugins, and we have Pocket Pages plugin EJS. You're using that one, and we have Pocket. We have name Pocket Pages plugin JS SDK. That's the one we just added. And here's where the host goes now. It goes inside that one.
Mm,
So
okay.
I think those are the only two you're using because you're not using any markdown files, are you?
I have my content under content.
Oh,
I am
okay.
I'm using Markdown. Yep.
Okay, so in that case, we're also going to want to install Pocket Pages plugin. I think it's called Marked. Yeah, it
It's
was called
crazy
Marked.
watching over here on my screen the like my terminal update and like restart and do everything while you're working. It's funny.
Pocket Pages plugin Marked. And now, what's interesting about Marked is that if you want, so typically what you want is you want the EJS to be earlier in the pipeline than the markup transformation, because that
Mm-hmm.
way you can put EJS inside your markdown file and it will be evaluated properly. Um, Something that you may want is to add a little configuration extensions. You might want both EJS and MD. And what that will do is if you ever like include a partial that's a markdown file, like say you have layout EJS here, or what's a better example? Well, yeah, if you I don't know, it doesn't matter. But
And
if you had a little thing in here like include um, about.md like that,
mm,
right? Um, EJS wouldn't normally know what to do and to process that markdown file, but um, if you add that extension in, then it will.
okay.
Um, which
And the order in which you list the plugins is the order of like the pipeline flow. So it'll do
yeah,
each one in order and only
yeah,
handle files with that extension or whatever gets passed
right,
to it.
right. Well, yeah, and I mean now that I'm saying that, I'm questioning for myself why that was even necessary. Let me just go into the EJS code here real quick and take a peek at
I mean,
something.
I was watching your stream the other day, and that was something I was thinking about. Is that there's oftentimes like let's say I have ASCII Doctor, um, and maybe I want to be able to put um, some kind of a snippet or component, design component inside of the ASCII Doctor. I might need the I might need whatever resolves that component to render out the HTML first, and then run ASCII Doctor on the result of that, and then have something else take that HTML from ASCII Doctor. Same thing with Markdown, right? Like I'd want something to do the AGS component first, then process the markdown, including the rendered output from that EJS piece, and then use that to inject it into whatever the higher level page or layout is. So definitely sequential processing is good.
Yeah.
I wondered if there's a way to. I was kind of thinking, like, would there be a way to indicate that per file, like, I need this to go through some sequential steps in the pipeline to be processed correctly, because something depends on something happening first. Or if you just set that up and say everything has to run through this sequence, so plan accordingly, in your content or in your files.
Yeah, that's probably. I just closed the whole
Oh,
browser window. I didn't mean that.
yeah.
That's funny. Getting used to the shortcut keys here. So hang on, let me open the browser.
And it'll kind of come back where you left off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I misspoke. This is if you had in your about MD, if you had something like in here you had include overview MD or something like that, and if you had some EJS inside your about MD, then you would want to tell your EJS, hey, when you see an MD file, run it through EJS as well. So that's what this option is for. But you actually don't have that use case in here. So I'm gonna put it back to the simpler version.
Well, I don't yet, but
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea of being able to throw components, like, especially in Markdown or something. Like ASCII Doctor is a little bit more powerful, but Markdown I've often had to make some way of like injecting component elements, like nice tables or something into, or figures, a better figure object into my Markdown content, so that I get the kind of like final rendered output that I want. So I can definitely see that being. I'll probably want something like that, like
I'll
be
leave
able to
it then.
make EJS components, make an EJS component, and I'm assuming, yeah, you could pass data into that. Like I can.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah,
pass
I'll
data
probably
around.
want to do that eventually.
Yeah. So I'll leave that then. So now we're gonna go dev PocketBased again, and now we're back to this whole no member PB, which
Right.
is a little puzzling to me, because now we do have because it's you have that required pocket pages PB.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to you about that actually anyway, when I saw that. So down here in
I think it's an index.
Index
At the root.
Just right here maybe
under site.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, right. So this actually comes in on a global now, so you can just you can eliminate that and just do PB collection like that. So let me see what that's going to do for us. See if that fixes the problem. Okay, PB is not defined. All right. So let me see what the issue is then, because that plugin should have loaded. So we have our plugins here. Plugin JS SDK. Let me just verify in code here that it's doing what I think it's doing. Yep, it adds it there. Adds it to the global.
I guess I thought config had to be at the same level as the PocketBased PBJS. It doesn't?
No, it's one level in.
Okay.
It's inside pages.
Okay.
Yeah. It's loading it okay, because I mean we could prove that just by, if I were to change this to an unrecognized plugin, it would now that's interesting.
One thing I
That's
just
interesting.
noticed in
Uh-huh.
my workspace, I don't see the fourth terminal, like that you have a fourth. Uh, I would
Oh,
have
you
thought I
don't?
would see another. Yeah, I don't
Huh.
see that one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me console log a little hello world here. I want to make sure we're actually seeing this file. Yeah, it's not loading. Okay. So why? Let's see here. Is it still okay? Wait, we got pages. Yeah, and then config is in the root there where it's supposed to be, and yet it's not loading it. Hmm. Let me just make sure that we can load anything here. Let's just comment this out for a second.
Do you need to change the syntax like for the config file? Because in your example, you have module.exports equals and then your plugins and everything, and I'm setting
Yeah.
a constant and then exporting default. Does that
Well,
handle it? Same?
the confusion I'm having is that inside config.js, I have a little console log hello world, and I'm not seeing
Mm-hmm.
that show up down here anywhere, which indicates to me some kind of problem because and some kind of problem that we're not seeing. So, because if I go into the Pocket Pages code here and I look in the handler, this bootstrap handler is what loads config.js. So here's the config path, and then here's the require. Oh yeah. See, this is not outputting any error message if that config fails to load. That's what's happening here. Well, I'm going to change this locally anyway. But yeah, because I'm just going to say error loading config file like that, just so that
Yeah, that'll be helpful.
so that we know. But that'll come later. So let's go back for now. Let's go back because there's a workaround here, which is I can just go module. Oh my God, come on, module exports. I'm just going to export nothing for now, and then all of this comment out. Yeah, because I'm like, even if you had a syntax error in here, it would just like silently skip the config file. And I don't think there's a syntax error. I'm just looking for any indication that this thing is loading. So let me take all this out first. There we go. So now we got the hello world, right? There it is. So
Yeah, and I wonder if that module exports syntax is what's needed. Like if you were to throw that plugin stuff and everything into that object.
Yeah, it will be, but I'm curious, like if you did export default like this, I'm almost sure that Goja will not like that. So, and we won't see the hello world here. Yeah, see, we don't see the hello world anymore because that's invalid syntax. So it definitely does need to be the module exports. But there's another issue at play here, which is I think this line right here, the env, I think that's choking. And the reason that is choking is because in my code, when I require config, env is not available. That's not one of the like there's nothing injected into this scope because this is just a require. So let me think about how to solve that, because I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get env from globals here. Let's try. We might be able to say. We might be able to require the Pocket Pages module and then go Pocket Pages. We might be able to go like env like this.
Mm-hmm.
We might be able to do that. Let's see if it likes that. It did not like that either. Yeah, I didn't think you'd be able to just require Pocket Pages that way. Yeah, shoot. Because let me try just putting this in a try catch and just see what it does. Man, I'm so used to Cursor's auto completion and stuff. It's kind of like driving a stick shift. I'll just do error like that. Let's see what that does. Error value is not an object, undefined. Yeah. Oh, because it's global API env. It's that. There we go. Okay.
Hey.
No, we're good. We're good. We're getting somewhere now. So then we'll say we'll shove all this up here. Host URL, and let's just do console log.
Does the let need to be above like a? Will it be in that try scope, or it'll be at a top level? Like, can it inherit down into the?
Yeah, it does need to be. It does need to be up there.
That needs to be outside of the try.
Hoist it up. Yeah. Okay. So, cool. Yep. So we got all that going. Now, I don't know what kind of style you like, but when I do stuff like this, I will often just do an IIFE right in here. I'll just go like this, and then inside I'll put this whole function in here, where I just say return.
Okay.
And actually, I'll just cut the else out of it too, so it'll just fall through to prod. I kind of like that better. Like that's just my programming style. I just wanted to show it to you. You definitely don't have to.
No, that's
do
good. Go ahead and keep that. I like it.
Well, I like it because you can declare locals and do all that kind of scoping, and it's all just kind of tidy without having to like create a separate named function. So okay, but anyway, now we gotta do this module exports. So this stuff here. Let's see. Well, first we'll uncomment it all. We'll take out
Pretty
that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did we do it? Is that it? I feel like it's not there. Okay, yeah, it is formatting for me. Okay. So let's see what syntax error. Oh, probably because I saved it in the middle there. No, it still doesn't like that. What am I missing?
Unexpected reserved word.
Oh, unexpected reserved word.
Oh, that's in your PocketBased ESMJS line 1, or maybe it's just where it's calling it.
Yeah, let's see here. So if I take out plugins there, okay, that works. Okay, let's see if we can narrow it down here. So we're gonna take out the other plugins. just go with EJS for now and see if. Okay, so that loads again. So it's not the EJS plugin that has the reserved word problem. Let's see if it's marked. It's not marked that has the EJS or the reserved word problem either. So that means that it must be JSSDK, and I bet it's the word global. I bet it's the word global. Yeah, I bet you anything it's the word global, because that's the one that I didn't test. So hold on here. I can fix this quickly for us. So this is inside load plugin. It's taking
I see it there.
global
API.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to rename it global API, and I have to go redo this type here, global API, like that. So this is going to require, I'm going to have to push a little PocketBased core fix. And then the other thing I'm going to need to do, though, is in JS SDK, this is now global API. Yeah. Why is it not finding it? It should find it. Oh, right, because packages, pocket pages, and then we have to go run dev so that it rebuilds it, and then it will find the global API thing now. So let's see here. Let's go plugin factory, and plugin factory has the plugin factory config where it has the global API. Yeah, there. Now that error went away. All right, so we've got PocketBased building. So I fixed the JS SDK. I don't think EJS is using it, but I know for sure Auth is using that same thing. So, right, all this global stuff goes to global API. And then, come on, Cloud, fix it for me. All of this. Why am I having to do so much Why am I having to do so much
Because you're not in Cloud.
Yeah.
You're not using Cursor.
Oh no, this is Cursor. I'm on my local machine.
Oh, you're
right
local.
now.
Oh,
yeah, but like I don't know why it's not letting me tab through and do all of these. Come on.
I always do like a global dot and then a alt V or whatever. Try to pick them all up and change them all at once, like multi-cursor.
Claude has made me extremely lazy because normally I could just tab my way through life and it works.
Yeah.
But all right. So what I'm doing here, I'm updating the PocketBased core package, and then there are a couple plugins that add functions to the global scope. So I was just kind of going through these plugins just to make sure that that I didn't miss any, because like SSE, I'm not sure if it adds anything to the global scope. No, it doesn't. It just extends the context API. So that's fine. And I wanted to show you this plugin architecture because this is how you're getting ASCII Doctor into PocketBased if you want to.
I was really excited when I saw this coming on. I was like, okay, that's how it'll work. I'll just plug in ASCII Doctor processor and have it do its thing.
Yeah, as long as there's no async, you can probably...
There isn't. Yeah, well, I think we looked at that in the last stream. It's all just straight function. Like there's no async awaits or anything, or promises or anything in it.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so the one to base your work off of is either Either EJS or marked. These are
I think
both.
it'd be similar to marked, right? Because it's
Yeah,
basically a similar processor. It's just taking some file and running it through a function
yeah,
and returning
yeah,
HTML or whatever. What do you spit out of it? Content. Okay. So you
yeah.
just
Well,
have content. Yeah.
content is what gets passed in, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, you're right.
well, depending on if a previous plugin in the pipeline already loaded it, right? So you get the file path and you get content. Um, if no other plugin has already read the file and done anything with it, then ASCII Doctor would, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you have EJS in the pipeline first and it reads that file, then you're getting your stuff coming in through content as a string of what EJS already pre-processed. And then you would run that through ASCII Doctor.
Yep, that would work.
But at the end of all this, return HTML. That's what it does.
Perfect.
So
that's what I'm doing now in another project. So
yeah. So yeah, I was thinking of you while I was writing this plugin system because Donnie hurt my feelings and said PocketPased was hacky. So so I had to like re-architect it. And as I was doing it, I was like, oh, this is how we're getting ASCII Doctor in here and like nunchucks and handlebars and basically whatever templating engine somebody wants. This is how we're doing it. And it's all going to be plugins, right? So it's like if you don't want it,
really, don't use it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so we've made that update we needed to make. And now in the root, I want to do change set and see it has, I don't know if you've looked at change set before, but it knows what packages have changed here. So I'm going to reference all of the changed packages. And it's not a major, it's not a minor, it's a patch. And the patch is fix renamed global context, global plugin config context to global API. That's the fix. So we'll create that change set note. And just to review here, we changed it here, we changed it here, we changed it here. We had to make a change. Oh, this is a different change actually.
That's when you threw that error handler in for when it failed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a different patch for that. So I'm gonna say enhancement show error message if JS fails to load. I'm going to commit that one first. So we'll do that and this change set right here. Yeah, and I'll just say enhancement like that. Okay, we'll commit that change. There was another change I made here, which was a missing dependency as well. So let me think this one through for a second. PocketBased log.
It was a PocketBased log, right? Yeah.
Yeah, PocketBased log right there was a missing dependency. So I'm going to do another little patch for that. I'm going to say fix added missing PocketBased log dependency. Just like that. Okay, so now we'll add that and this and the bunlock file as well. That's all one commit. Oops. Yeah. Did I say Pocket Pages log? No, I didn't. Okay. We're good. There we go. Okay, that one's done. Now we're down to, I think, the actual fixes we needed here. Yeah. So this is going to be fix renamed global to global API in plugin loading factory text. Okay, so that's that. Push all those commits. And then I go change set version. And this is, have you seen change set before? I think I lost audio.
Sorry, I'm muted. Yeah, sorry, I'm muted. I've seen you using it, but I haven't used it myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So so you can add little patches, but here's the magic is about to happen right here with this command change set version. So I hit change set version. It goes through all those change sets, and then it deletes those and it moves them into each of the package change logs, and it says like what happened. So for example, in auth, we applied this fix and it affected auth, right? And we also updated the minimum dependency to 005. So if you look in here, see well, this version got bumped, but also this one that it depends on got bumped, because that one also, that version in the JS SDK got bumped. And this one doesn't have any other dependency that got bumped, so it doesn't have that other note in it, but it has this same fix the global problem thing. Now microdash has a this has a dev dependency. I don't know if microdash was affected by this. Yeah, microdash does add stuff to the globals. So sorry. Yeah, so that's right. So this one changed as well, and this one got bumped to version 005. And then in PocketPages, it has all three of these fixes. It got bumped to 15.2. And then all of the starter kits, they all depend on PocketPages, so it bumped all of those of the PocketPages dependency version and all of the other plugins that are in the workspace. So basically, any of your monorepo packages, when you bump a version, it'll go into all of the other packages and update the dependencies appropriately. So
that's super nice.
Yeah, it's pretty handy because like this is actually a lot of updates that know, and then I can go through individually and I can decide, like, does the HTMX starter kit actually need any of these improvements, or would it run on a lower version? Because ChangeSet doesn't know that. So, but I can go through
and it could be like breaking, right? For that particular starter kit, it could, that update might break that whole kit, and you need to do work in HTMX kit to like call new functions or do something different, once you pull that in, right? Like you wouldn't necessarily know to update the code that depends on.
Yeah, like if you wanted to keep this locked at 14, you could do that.
Yeah.
So now in the case of the HTMX, I think it actually is a requirement. But for example, minimal, it's not a requirement for minimal. Like none of the fixes that we did are a requirement for minimal. But if somebody were to copy this starter kit and use it, I would still want them to pull,
the latest
the latest. Yeah. So I think, well, not that it would, it still would pull the latest, even if it were 15.1, because of the little caret thing. So, but still, just because for demonstration purposes, it's like don't use an earlier version. Like just use the latest version in the starter kit. So I'm going to leave it like that. So then I'm going to go version 0.15.2, right? And I'll commit all of that. And now check this out. I'll show you the git log here. So there we are at 15.2. I'm going to go change set tag. That's going to go through and tag that commit with all of the releases that I just did. So those are all tags in the repo now.
Great.
So then the final thing, change set isn't compatible with bun, so I have to do a bun run publish on my own, which bun's kind of janky with this. I had to make this thing here where I have a publish root script and it goes through and publishes everything. Some of these will fail to publish because they didn't get version bumped, but let's just publish it all. This is what's actually going to push it out to NPM, and you can see a couple failed, right? You can't publish previously, like version 004, but the ones that were 005 and like PocketPages 15.2, those did publish successfully. So now that we have that handled, and this is all untested, mind you, but we should be able to go back to your project, and we should be able to go npm.
We did.
What's up?
We don't need PocketBased log anymore, right? Because now that dependency is resolved.
Yep, that should be.
Do we need PocketBased JSVM?
The only reason
plugin,
you'd
right?
have it is no, it's not a plugin. It's that's the JSVM type definitions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not required by PocketPages. So, like, unless you want JSVM typings for some reason,
I don't think I need that.
Okay, take that one out too.
Then...
So, is it npm update or like what? Oh, that's not even the right terminal. Okay, npm. Is it? Well, I guess I can just
have it do all the latest versions of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I can do PocketPages latest, and that changed it to 15.2. But see, these other dependencies here, these didn't get updated.
Yeah, it is npm update. Will update the package manager and its modules. You can use it to update all local and global packages, or just global.
Let's see what happens.
You can check for outdated with npm outdated -u and then update. Yeah, anyway.
Okay, so the JS SDK, that one didn't seem to work. Let me just make sure that I think it's supposed to be on version, it's on version 5 in NPM, but it didn't update here.
If you hover over the name of the package, the dependency, does it give you 5? Yeah, it does see it. Okay. Wonder why it didn't.
I didn't know that it even does. Does it go out and check NPM for that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'll just go npm I latest. Let's see if that convinces it. Okay, that worked. Also, I don't know if these are. I don't know how you consider, like, do you like dependencies or dev dependencies?
I think of anything that happens like server side as part of the rendering pipeline, and that won't be client side as a dev dependency, and anything that would need to be like anything that's referred to maybe client side as a dependency. I don't know if that's right, but that's how I've always thought of it, as like dev stuff is stuff you won't need in the browser basically, and dependencies are things that the project depends on to carry along in the output.
Well, the only time that might bite you is if you have some kind of CI running that installs this and installs it in production mode. It won't install any of the dev dependencies. So typically you want, for dependencies, you want everything that's required for it to run, not to build. but to run. So like you wouldn't need Daisy UI. I'm not sure how you're using PocketBased. How are you using PocketBased? Where is this package being used?
I wonder if that's when I was getting the FTP stuff to go pull from PocketBase and grab. Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's in my deployment.
You need it for your build pipeline.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's debatable, like where to put, like if you need something for your build pipeline, but not actually to run your code. But like
it's in my backup. It's in my backup.js. I use it there in my.
Because like you could make an argument that Pocket Pages and the plugins, those are required at runtime. Like your site won't work without them. So if you wanted to,
dependencies, I would say.
Yeah, you could probably move those to dependencies, and that way they would. If your deployment did involve some kind of CI pipeline where it was like spinning up a new machine and reinstalling everything, and then like switching over to it in some kind of graceful way, like if you had all that automation going, you would definitely need it to install that stuff. So anyway, I'll leave it how it is for now. But let's go to. I need to. Oh, okay, yeah, right. npm run. Okay, npm run dev. What's going on?
What is it doing? Yeah, it's like being really weird with cursor position.
Yeah, it's doing something funky. So I'm gonna just kill that one and go back here and do npm run dev. Is it PocketBased? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, dev PocketBased.
To spin it up.
Yeah.
It's run dev :PocketBased. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So we're still getting that unexpected reserved word, which tells me that that we.
Did you do an npmi since we've added those dependencies? The latest versions.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
But that's coming from. We said that was coming from the plugin JS SDK.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So why? Here's plugin JS SDK. Yeah. Version 5. Version 5 of the JS SDK. Did we not rebuild this? We didn't rebuild it. That's what happened. Yeah, maybe I should.
Right.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a build, and then Cloud already understands what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah. Come
on, Cloud, give it to me. Yeah, do all of that. We need it all. So build Pocket Pages, build auth EJS, mark SDK. Okay, and then this is going to go run build, and then concurrently run the rest. Okay, let's try this again. Let me just see if this run build. Let me just see if that actually builds everything. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now for this, we're gonna do a quick change set here. We're gonna go change set and see nothing has actually changed, but actually they all need to be re-pushed. So we're gonna say they all changed. They don't need major. They don't need minor. They all need a patch, and it's just fix bad build.
Mm-hmm.
That. All right, so if you look through, that right now is just a little note here that says all of these packages are to be patched with this note in the changelog. Then when you go change set version, so you could commit this and keep going, and then later when you call change set version, it's going to look for all of these temporary files inside your change set directory and merge them together. So that's what change set version does. You go change set version, and this is the one that bumps all the packages. So you see it bumped every package, and it added to every change log, and it bumped every starter kit. So this is now, I mostly just for the commit message, I usually just use the main version here. So I'll just say version 0.15.3 like that. I'll commit all of that. Change set tag. And change set tag is going to tag everything again. All new fresh versions, never seen before. And then we're going to go bun run publish, and this will run the build first, and then it will pack them and ship them. Yeah, let's see if this works. Okay, so that time it pushed every package, a new version of every package.
Everything was touched that time.
Yeah, everything was touched that time. So now we're going to go back into here, I guess, and let's see what that npm update does this time. I'm curious which version numbers it'll change. Let's see. I might have done it too quick too. Sometimes it takes a minute or so for things to actually deploy out to npm.
It says it updated 2 packages at least.
Yeah, interesting. But it did not update PocketPages, which is now at 15.3. So let's try one more time and see if it catches it this next time. Nope.
Up to date.
Interesting. Yeah, but see if
I
do that.
Updated that. Yeah.
Yeah. What if I is this little dash latest? A lot of the other package managers have that same thing.
Try npm outdated -u.
So it doesn't see that PocketPages is outdated.
No, but it does see the 2 plugins. So why isn't it picking up PocketPages?
Updates packages.
I am not well versed in this npm stuff. I'm very functionally literate, right? It's like I can do npm-i and npm run and like the whole.
I only use bun. So I'm not really that familiar with npm either. But no worries. Let's see here. Outdated. See,
I mean, at least when I hover it does say 15.3 when I hover the text. So it does see it, but it's not.
What if I go? So what's the -u for?
I think
I don't even see that option.
Oh, maybe it's just updated u. If you want to check for outdated packages and update them in one command, that's the outdated -u.
Oh, really?
For up. Yeah.
See, because it's I'm having trouble reading this thing. Wanted latest. So it's showing me a bunch that are not okay. That's what that -a does. So if I just go
goes
npm
down through all submodules or all modules and check them. Yeah.
Well, and I think even if they're not out of date, it shows them too. But I'm a little confused, though. Still not showing PocketPages. So I'm just going to go npm-i Pocket Pages at latest. Just do it manually, and there I got my 15.3. And then we'll do npmi this one at latest, and that'll bump that to 6. And then this one, npmi marked at latest. Oops. Latest, and that should bump to 5. Okay, now npm outdated. We've shown now. Only Daisy. Okay, cool. So now we should be able to go back here and do our npm dev PocketBase. Unexpected reserved word still. Okay. So why? Let's go Pocket Pages, plugin, JS SDK. Go to the code here and just do a little sanity check. Make sure the CJS it's using global API.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, there's almost not much to this one. Is it requiring anything else? It's requiring JS SDK JS VM, but that one I haven't changed, so I don't think that would be.
Although I don't have that, I guess would that auto import it because it's not in my package?
Yeah,
I guess
that's
it would pull it right. It's a dependency of it. Okay, yeah, so we should pull it.
Yeah, they call it a transient dependency.
But the update we're doing, would it update, like if we deleted node modules and did an npmi and had it pull all the latest for everything, would that, is there a dependency chain that may not have been updated in our top level updates? Like if one of these things depend on it?
Yeah, well that's kind of, I'm trusting npm outdated not to lie to me, but yeah, that's what I was just going to check.
Try that. Try delete node modules and do an npmi and see if it, yeah.
Okay.
I've had that happen before in some other tech stacks where like there's something down in the dependency chain.
Yeah, okay. So it's still not liking something in, oh wait, PocketBased ES and JS. Wait a minute. I've encountered this before. Hold on. This is different than what we were saying. The unexpected reserved word, this is different. We were, well now I'm wondering if we just were totally chasing down the wrong thing. I thought we got that the problem was that global thing, but
yeah,
maybe we were wrong about that, because this I've seen before. It's pulling the wrong one here. See, it's pulling the MJS file, and it is getting that from PocketBased JS SDK JS VM. Let me show you where it's getting that. That's a package I maintain. So I'm back in Cursor. Open up the PocketBased JS SDK JS VM. Where is it? It's not in my recent files, so I'll just do it. It's in this one right here. So open that up in a new window. I'll show you what's happening here. Which version is it using? Because it's supposed to be, if it's supposed to be using 10.03. Hold on, maybe let's look for these dependencies here, because this is probably, yeah, no, it's using 10.03 there.
Yeah, you have like it looks like there's three exports. There's the ESMJS, the CJSJS, and the UMDJS.
Yeah, and Goja looks for the one in main, and that's what we have here
And
is
main is ESMJS.
main is the
Yep.
CJS. So but
Wait, what?
I,
Hold on. Hold on. Let me see. What is it? Oh, that's not what I see.
where are you looking?
In my in my main, I'm looking in the node module package JSON.
What version
Uh,
is it? Is it
let me see. Hold up.
10,002?
1.3.
It's
It's the same.
3.
Yeah. And my main is dist pocketbased.es.mjs.
Hang on. Did I not ship this change? That's what happened, man. See, I just said editing packages locally, right? Okay. Yeah, hold on here then. So I need to. This is a fix fix package main. I hope you're having fun, man. Because
This is great, dude. This is like learning under the hood here, like looking under the
yeah,
hood.
we're like 4 layers deep now.
Eventually, we'll get back up and refresh our use some plugins. This is great.
I'm just
Hey, man, I
trying
love it.
to make my web game, man.
I'm just trying to help people get eggs over here. Golly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do a change set in this JSVM thing, and it's a patch, and it's a fix. Fixed main to load CJS. Fixed package main to load CJS. Okay. So we'll make that little note here, and then we'll commit that change. Okay. Then we'll go change set version. And that's going to bump the package JSON version to, now it's going to be 10,004 with a little change set note in here saying what we fixed. We will say version 0.25.10,004, like that. Do that, and then we'll go change set publish. And because we're not in a mono repo, change set publish will actually work. You don't have to strip any workspace protocols from any package dependencies or anything like that. So it's publishing, and boom, now that's published. So now we got to jump back into Pocket Pages, and inside our, let me get rid of a lot of these. Get rid of all my terminals. So first, inside plugins auth, we want to do bun install. We want this PocketBased JS SDK JSVM thing ID like that. Yeah. We want that as a dev dependency in auth because we're only using it for typings. So we added it there. Then inside, where else were we? JS SDK. JS SDK plugin. Let's take a look at what's going on in here. So right now this is at 10.003, and you see here it's an actual dependency like needed at runtime. It needs this at runtime because it loads that package. So we're going to go install at latest, and there it bumped it up to 10,004. Yep.
Nice.
So that's good. And you see this workspace protocol right here. This means that that it will link to the mono repo version until it ships, and then it'll strip that workspace out. So while I'm running locally, it'll use the workspace version. But anyway, okay, so we got that reference taken care of. And then inside, I don't see any other package JSON references to it. So that should be the fix. So we updated it in the two packages where it occurs. And now we will just call it a chore. Update that. Okay. And then we go change set. Oh, there's nothing in the, right. Oh, yeah. You gotta go back to the root here. Change set.
It's up one more level.
Yeah. Try again. Change set. There we go. Okay, cool. So we changed off. Now, by the way, let me just real quick. You see how it's saying like none of the packages have changed? That's because it's looking in the working directory. So if I undo that last commit and call change set again, now see it finds the changed packages. So that's actually a better way to do it. So those packages have been changed.
Is it looking only in like what staged changes, or would it see anything that's changed?
It would see anything. So like, let's unstage this stuff. Change that. Same.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I think I'm the one. I could be making this up, but I'm pretty sure I submitted a PR exactly for this issue to the change set project, because it wasn't picking those up before, I think, or it was something like that. But anyway, so major, minor, these are just patches, and it's just a fix, update, PocketBased JS, SDK, JSVM. Okay, there we go, just like that. And if you want to save yourself a commit, you can actually just do change set version at the same time. So like if I call change set version, it's what it'll do is bump all the packages as necessary for the next release. I kind of like to keep that separate. So like this commit is about this particular change. So I'm going to commit this, and then when I call change set version, watch, it's going to create a bunch of extra changes that are all like package JSON version bumps and stuff like that. So like, because
there's almost more like a commit for the actual changes, and then like a version commit that just is like bumping versioning and getting it all ready for release.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So like, because the auth starter uses both of these, it got those dependencies bumped, but the well, this is interesting though. I wonder why it didn't bump the version of auth starter. Oh, because those starter kits are not published on NPM, so it ignores those completely. That's why. Otherwise, it would have bumped this version, because otherwise, how would you pick up those dependency changes? So, but then in JS SDK, it bumped the version here, and in auth, it bumped the version there. So now we can say this is since this is kind of like the core Pocket pages did not get updated in this case, because it doesn't depend on either of these. These are plugins. So I think I'm just going to say chore updated auth and JS SDK plugins with that. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go change set publish, and that will publish those packages. Change set publish. That'll publish those packages, and tag the versions at the same time. I think. Pretty sure. Actually, I don't
It
think
did.
it
I do
did.
see a creating git tags, but maybe that's.
Yeah,
It doesn't
I'm
look like
not.
it though.
I'm not seeing because auth should be at 0.7.
7. Oh, there they are. It's
Oh,
up
there they
here.
are. Okay,
It just came
cool.
in. Wow.
Right, cool, sweet. Yeah. So now work our way back up to your deal, and I think we have to update JS SDK, right?
Yeah. So
So we'll
npm
go.
update should update that to 7.
Let's see if it does. npm update. Chug. Nope.
Hey,
Didn't.
change. Well, it says changed one package there, but it didn't. Why is it not like refreshing the?
Yeah, weird. Because if I go latest like this, and then now it bumped it.
Oh yeah, because you just did that. Okay.
Yeah, which by the way, you're also going to want plugin auth. I just realized because you're using auth in here, and that one got pulled out of core.
Great.
So we're gonna have to do that one too. Put that one in. Pocket.
Oh, it's saying the unsupported URL type with workspace. It didn't strip the.
Oh shit!
Calling out.
Because did I do a change set? I used change set publish. Dang it! Okay. Change set doesn't strip those workspaces if you're using bun because change set doesn't know about bun. So
You had
now
to do
I
the
need
bun
to.
publish thing.
Yeah. So now I need to do. What did we do? We did auth. We did JS SDK, right? Both of those
Those are the
packages
last
right
two.
now are broken. Fix the build. Okay, do that. Change set version. So this is an example of where I'm doing it all in one commit. So all that's really happening here is we're bumping to all of these to 8, and we're just going to go chore auth and JS SDK build fix like that. Okay, then now we're doing bun run publish instead. Yeah.
And now we'll get our magic build and publish, right?
Yeah. So it's going to build
combo.
It's going to build everything. It's going to publish. A bunch of the publishes are going to fail, but the important ones are going to succeed, which are where are they?
JS SDK.
Yeah.
I see that one down there.
Yeah. Auth.
That one's up.
Yeah. JS SDK. Those both worked. Yep. And now we can do change set tag to just to manually tag those two, and then after we push that, this thing will refresh, and then our tags show up. Okay, going back one more time here. Now we're going. Oh yeah, we want to install auth at latest. No matching version found. Oh, that's probably just because.
Like it takes a minute to hit the registry.
Yeah, maybe. I hope, unless we screwed it up again. Okay, well there it is actually only seeing JS SDK. Okay, that's 0.8. So, but why is at latest still coming in as 0.7 from npm? Yeah, it's like the npm cache is out of date or something, because it's on here, like plugin JS SDK. That one's at 8, and I bet you auth is at 8 as well. Yeah, auth is at 8. Mm-hmm. And if you go into package JSON, the workspace stuff is stripped. So like this is all looking good. So let's try again. And I just go 0.0.8. What happens? Okay.
Change blood.
That worked. So how about auth at latest? That still didn't work. How about 0.0.8? Huh. That's bizarre. Yeah, and there it's see it's still. How do you clear the npm cache?
Yeah, try npm cache. So it'd be npm space cache space clean space -- force.
Okay, cool. So now, what if we install? Ah, that worked.
And I bet latest would have worked too. I think it just.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Out of date.
We'll just put all these in the same place here. Okay. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Latest. Yep. Okay. So then we'll go npm dev PocketBase. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
So
npm run dev PocketBase.
Oh yeah. See, the other package managers, they know.
You just say the name.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. No way.
It's loading.
Wow.
Although now my data's not working again, but hey, we're getting there.
Your what's not working?
The little location is not showing up, so it's not pulling products from the database yet. But I think that's because we're still using the old way of calling it. We haven't implemented the new plugin call, right?
Well, let's go find that. So
that would be an index EJS.
Oh, right, it was here. We commented this out. Yeah. So that's what got this whole thing started.
Because PD wasn't working, and now there should be a little marker on the map if we reload.
Boom!
Hey,
and there is.
Look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So that was actually really good for me, though, because there were a lot of problems in those packages that I didn't. That I knew they were there, and I was like, I'm just going to publish it and let things blow up and see what happens. So, okay, so let's review all of this. In package.json, we updated Pocket pages. We got rid of the Pocket-based JSVM dependency because we didn't need it. And we added 3 plugins because that's this new plugin architecture. And you're using auth, you're using the JS SDK, and you're using marked. EJS is the only dependency of Pocket pages, and that's because I didn't want Pocket pages to be like completely batteries not included. So so EJS is the default templating engine that it ships with, and maybe in a different version, like there will be a different or better templating engine that becomes the new default. But for now, it's EJS. So you don't need to specify the EJS dependency. Now,
I was just thinking it might be kind of cool if we could use Svelte. So not using Svelte Kit, but being able to parse Svelte components, like make Svelte components and use Svelte as the component language or the templating language for components. That'd be pretty neat.
I'm thinking about that. I'm also I dug into JSX a little bit to see if there's a JSX parser that I can use. Because some of these, if you dig down deep enough into the core libraries, they actually will run in Goja. It's just if they have any async code, it won't. But parsing isn't async, so if you can get all the way down to the parser library, usually you can pull it in. Okay, and then we Pocket Pages PBJS changed a lot. Like that was the old bundle, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
It's now just a simple require Pocket Pages. That's a lot cleaner. We
And do I
moved
need to pull new versions of that in now? Those were updated, right?
right. No, it all comes in through npm now, so you never have to touch this again.
Oh, right. Because yeah, of course. Okay. So you don't need those files now at the root, right? Oh, because all we do is a require there. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Right.
It still needs to require it, but that's it. And then we moved config and changed it quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
actually. One thing I'm just remembering here is we also need
You need for the auth. Oh yeah, you were doing it.
PocketPages plugin auth to be in there, because right now without it, like before I save that, without
The
it,
login wouldn't have worked.
if you go to login and if I just try to, I'll just log in as whatever, login, sign with password is not defined, right? So
But I'm
so
using the old auth section that you had before. I haven't
yeah,
modified that at all.
no, and that should stay fine. It's just the plugin is what adds those methods into the context now. So
Okay.
check it out. If you go look at the auth plugin, there is a plugin method. There's a plugin method called onExtendContext API, and it gives you the context API, and then you can add your own methods to it, like register with password, sign in with password, sign in anonymously, OTP. So I add all those into the context in this auth plugin, and that happens before your page gets loaded. So when we change, as soon as we change this to include the PocketPages plugin auth, now when I go back here and I hit login, it's not going to be that sign in with password not defined. It's going to be probably user failed to authenticate.
Mm-hmm.
So so there we go. So we changed config pretty substantially, and then index.ejs. I think all we did there was this taking
That was
so
just
long.
switching out the old require pocketpages.pb and just putting pb.collection.
Yeah.
Or moving pb parentheses in front of the dot collection so it didn't do the require.
Why is this diff taking so long? Refresh.
I wonder if I have that. I might have set that at the repository level, that request, because I know I changed it in my user. But yeah, there it is. So now it's just pb paren dot collection and not the whole require and all that.
Yep. So all told, not huge updates to your code. I mean, a lot of that was just digging around in my stuff. I would say the biggest thing that we learned from this was how to install Pocket Page plugins and how to define them in the plugins array. And then you also kind of got a peek at potentially what you'd need to do to make an ASCII Doctor plugin. And I would be really interested in seeing if that's feasible to do.
Yeah, what would be the best way for me to do that? Would I contribute it to the plugins collection that you have to be delivered as a new plugin.ASCII Doctor, or should I is there a way to develop it locally and pull it for testing, or what do you think?
That's interesting. Yeah, how would you
if people want to develop a plugin and contribute it, how do we do that?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so a little known, like this thing is such a huge project, but yeah, all of Pocket Pages is little known. But a new feature of this is in the plugins thing, you can actually create a plugin inline here. So you can just go, config like this, and then you have to return some kind of plugin API, which is just can be empty. And inside here, console log, I can say hello from my plugin. I can do that, and it should. Where is our?
Be in the other tab, other terminal.
This one?
That one was Tailwind doing updates.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Oh, I refreshed everything, didn't I? Yeah. So hold on here. Yeah. So it's npm run dev PocketBased. So hello from my plugin. You see that?
Yeah, that's actually already running. I think it's in the other tab, or the other terminal over there. There's 3 terminals now you have. I think it's in the second one. One.
This second one?
Oh, okay. I see.
This one's not running anything. And
I wonder if the function is still running in the background. It's like you closed the terminal but didn't exit the running. Because I noticed something. It said something like that port was already running.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. When you did that.
Oh yeah.
The red.
Already in use.
Already in use.
Okay.
So I wonder if you PS, is it running might be running like a.
Yeah, let's go. PocketBased, maybe?
I think it's that PocketBased serve. What is that?
This one right here, dev PocketBased?
That, yeah, must be.
That one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let's kill it.
Did that get rid of? Yeah.
Nope. So hold on here.
There's another it's yeah. There we
this
go.
One here.
That PocketBased serve, yeah.
PocketBased serve. Interesting. So one of your terminals survived, but the other one didn't. Okay, let's see.
Well, and that's I wonder if it because before I had mentioned you had started a terminal and were doing things, and I didn't see that reflected on my side. I wonder if I had started one here or something. I don't know. Anyway, we're I think it's like a weird state where we're both working in the same environment, the same workspace, but we're changing stuff around the scenes. So anyway, that came up for me. Yep.
Okay, cool. So it's
chiming up hello for my plugin.
Right, and so check this out. So this is the last one in the render pipeline. If I do an on render in here, I can do content like this, and then I can say return content plus foo. Okay, and now see, how come that didn't pop a new tab? That's weird. If I go into the source code here, just because that's the easiest way that we're going to be able to see it, you see there's a foo at the end of here, and there's a foo at the end of here, because it ran for the page interior, and it also ran for the layout. So it got an on render called for the page interior, and it appended foo, and then it got an on render called for the whole layout and appended foo.
Would that happen at every nested layout? If I had nested subsections, every one would run through the same.
Yeah. So So if I'm trying to think here, if this will be a little easier to see. If we go, I think there's something in here called file path. Maybe that's what it's called. And let's just do content plus file path. I think it's called file path. Now, if we go back to the source code here, okay, so the first time it gets called with index.ejs because it's processing index.ejs. The second time it gets called, it's processing layout.ejs.
And you can have like nested layouts and stuff, right? So
Right.
you could have an index file or a markdown file or something inside of a section with the layout. So it would run for the index file, it would then run for the layout, and then if that was inside of a layout nested, it would run again every time, basically every
So
part of
probably
resolving the path.
what you would probably want to do is something like if not file path ends with
ADOC or
ADOC?
ADOC. Yeah.
Yeah, then you just return content. Otherwise, you handle ADOC parsing and then return
the output of that, the HTML
ADOC
of that
content, whatever that is. Right. So so you could actually develop the plugin right here in your config.js file. And
I think that's what I'm doing for the Good Docs project. Let me I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure. Let me see if I could just like almost steal that code. I'm doing it as a svelte kit. Yeah. Okay. So check this out. I'll throw this in chat. So I make a function called FASCIDoc, because everything starts with the sva and svelte stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you open that up in the message, there's a FASCIDoc function where I'm using processor from ASCII Doctor core, and I essentially then just make a const processor. Yeah, go pop that open. So this is what's happening in the SvelteKit site where I'm handling ASCII doc content. And I bet it's almost the same code. So right up there on line 6, that function, return markup, because that's like, yep.
Yep. So this is it right here. This is
yeah.
That
and you can see it up there like
one?
lines 3 and 4, right? So I bring in processor from ASCII Doctor core, and then make like the processor function, and then down in there I just say processor.convert, pass it in the content with some options for how to handle that content, returns HTML, and then I return code HTML, because that's like SvelteKit's plugin architecture. And then down below, I just say, pre-process. So I run through the preprocessor, and then I do this FASCIDoc function, and that is kind of the last step for handling content. And if they're an ADOC file, it renders them out to that endpoint.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty dang close to what that plugin would be.
I think you're right. Yeah. So the big question I would have right here.
And we looked at that, and that didn't have any promises or awaits or asyncs. So it's like, is there anything else in there that it might use?
Let's find out. ASCII Doctor. So where is it? Core.
It's
Core. I wonder.
I think it's. Oh yeah, I don't know where the dist is for like. Yeah.
Oh well, you'd find out on npm ASCII doc probably.
It's ASCII-doctor.js. That's it. ASCII Doctor core, I think, is the one that handles the JS functionality.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just look at the dist. So they've got browser and they've got Node.
Let's see.
Here's a CJS. This is promising. I like seeing CJS because if it's ESM, some package authors now are only shipping ESM, and then you have to go through an extra like bundling step. This must
This
be really big.
might be I think it's a big file. It might be easier to look at in the repo. I don't know how npm's little code render works, but
Yeah, bail out of that. All right. Anyway, so here's the core API.
I think it's the bottom one. Is it the Node.js
Oh
template
yeah,
Node.js?
I thought
Maybe that just handles
this.
how it requires and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So this stuff right here, FS and path, um, could be an issue, and also this import meta URL stuff. Yeah. This one's I think an XHR, so it has some dependencies in here for sure. And where is it using FS though? I don't see. I see it's importing FS, but like, where is it using it? I don't see it
I don't
referenced
see it.
anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Path is referenced here. Yeah.
There's,
So
and there are a couple of ways to use the plugin. You can have it read from files, and then there's one function for reading from files from the file system, and then there's also just like process a content as a string, like basically hand it a string. And so I think in mine I'm doing it from we get content and file name, and then I check like if file name ends with ASCII doc, but I'm never really loading the file because I get content. And so I just take the string and parse it through the processor, convert it to HTML.
yeah, Let me just see what.
But there is, instead of convert, there's another function for under processor that I think is like load from file or convert from something where it can read the local file system and process data, process files.
Yeah, I'm just curious here. How do I build this? So probably just release. Release version is undefined. Okay, well, let's see. What does release do? Not that I'm going to accidentally release something of theirs, but like,
Right.
what does it do? I don't know. Like, how do any of these build? That's what I really just want to know. Is like, does this have a build in it? Oh, okay. Let me try that. So I'll go packages core, and I'll go run build. It's just okay. Using PM.
Yeah, I was almost tempted to just try loading this import processor and const and then do the function, like basically copy this function and throw it in there. Because that's also something you can do in Svelte Kit is instead of like calling the function, I could just write a function into the pre-process section and just have it run. I kind of pulled it out to separate it, but it should work the same.
Okay, so now I can go run build, and maybe it works. Compiling. Hmm.
What's in here?
Adapter extension JS. Can't tell if it's building or not. The other way I can do this is go here and instead of like it's really only a megabyte, but I can go to unpackage ASCII-doctor.core, and that's doing the browser one. So we can go node, what's it called? ASCII-doctor CJS. Flip. There we go. Okay. Well, we have the thing you would be including here. So let's just see what requires are left here. So it requires something called module, something called URL, something called path, something called FS, something called unxhr, plus the Opal runtime, whatever this one is.
Yeah, I think Opal like takes Ruby code and converts it to JavaScript, makes it a JavaScript function.
Yeah, and this is an MJS file. So does it have, okay, it does have an index CJS. All right, and it calls path, glob, util, and OS. Yeah. So let's see. Is there any? Opal promise. That could be a little suspicious because I don't know what's. Seems like it's implementing its own promise, because let's see, there's a then. As long as it's implementing its own promise stuff, but yeah, I do see some async in here. So
maybe some of the dependencies down deeper.
Yeah, it's possible. And like unxhr, so is it making XML HTTP requests as well? Oh shit. Yeah, it is. So this isn't going to work here either. So you would need to, at minimum, you'd need to fork this package and patch those specific areas of code. And this is like an upstream package from yours too, because then in here, so you'd have to fork Opal runtime and patch it. Then you'd have to fork ASCII-doctor core, and because these things that it includes are not available in Goja, so you'd have to either like require in shims for them or do something.
Maybe it's easier to have a serverless function that I send strings to and have it kick me back HTML and like call it. Can you do that? I guess. Well, that wouldn't even work really either, because you'd still be having to like do a fetch.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can do a fetch. I went through and did a lot of this. So I took Ghani's JS SDK package right here, and it had like, I think over 100 maybe, if I remember right, like async and awaits and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And way down in the core of it, way down in client TS, there was a fetch. Where does he have it? Way down here. This right here, this fetch right here. The fetch function is options.fetch if you pass in your own, or it defaults to this fetch function, which is available in browsers, and it's a polyfill in Node.js, but it's not available in Goja. This fetch right here, I had to replace with, let me show you exactly where in client HTTP, I replaced it with the JSVM's HTTP send. And then I had to kind of rework this part. I just made it use the HTTP send syntax instead of like the fetch func dot then. Like I had to every time there was a dot then or an await or something like that, I had to refactor it so that it was just synchronous code instead. And it was basically just a lot of like transforming the code. It wasn't like changing the logic. It was just transforming the syntax from one thing into another. And Claude helped with that pretty well. There were some false starts and things, but once it caught on to like what I was doing, it's like, oh, okay, I got you. You're trying to like change all of these, and then I could just tab through it. So Claude helped a lot, but I had to do that for this library, and there's no reason you couldn't do it for these libraries if you wanted to, and I mean we could do it together, but then I mean that would help everybody in the PocketBased community, because then they'd be able to parse ASCII doc in JSVN. So just got to decide if that's like a project you want to take on. But I see two forks here at minimum.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think probably not for this particular project because it's going to be so content light. It's more of an application than like heavy content. Yeah. But one thing I've wanted to do, and I might do at some point, is like kind of my work through the Good Docs project. I keep feeling inspired to make kind of a new documentation system, and I was thinking about doing that in SvelteKit. But part of what I really want is like part of this system in my mind should have some more personalization, and I would want some kind of like user-based or database-backed ability to control like some choices of the user side and knowing like, okay, what, you know, there's more to it than just like, do you like light or dark theme or something, right? It's like more what kind, it depends on the documentation, but like what product are you using or what products are you interested in? And then like maybe what's your use case or your persona, like how are you coming at this documentation, and then customize the experience of using the documentation based on some personalization and stuff. And that would be associated with that individual as a user. So I want kind of like user-based docs that are more dynamic and more personalized than just here's all the docs, read what you want. You know, you could kind of almost like it would be customized for you based on what you're trying to get out of the docs. So anyway, I think then there would be more long form content, and ASCII doc is like, that's what it's great for. It's like complex, long form, kind of technical documentation. I think in what I'm doing for this particular project, it's going to be pretty like Markdown is fine. Like that, it's going to handle.
Yeah, I agree.
Most of what I'm writing about.
If I close this, you don't lose this session, right? I mean,
no,
you still
no, you can get out of it.
Yep. All right, I'm going to bail out of this one.
Yeah.
So
and I'm going to try to commit up a
fun.
bunch of stuff here. I'm just going to kind of leave a few things stubbed in. Let's see. Okay, I think I have everything out of config. I'm going to leave some residue there for maybe later to look at, but let me close that. So package updates. Oh, I don't need that anymore. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this. Am I still screen sharing? I don't think I am.
No, I
No,
think.
no, I stopped a while ago. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I think I can commit everything here. Yeah. Okay. Get all that stuff up there.
Cool. Well, we looked at Gitpod, and we upgraded you to Pocket Pages 15, and you helped me find a lot of little package bugs along the way. So I would say this was productive.
Absolutely. Oh, hold up. What is that doing? Don't save. I'm just getting my everything we've done so far committed up to the branch. So okay, staged, commit, push. All right. Awesome. So now, does this work now? I feel like it was not working. Hold on. npm. Okay, that's already. Oh, we're back to the. One of us has somewhere in the system. It's got a PocketBased still running. Okay, here. That was that serve. I'm not really sure. So that's interesting. Oh, okay. So npm run dev PocketBase runs a shell command to serve PocketBase, which then executes the PocketBase serve function.
Mm-hmm.
So are those dependent? Like if I kill, I think if I kill one, I think if I kill the root, if I kill the server, everything else should clean up too. I think. Let me
Yeah.
try.
Well, if you kill the parent, it should kill the server too, but it didn't for me.
Yeah. Okay. Killing the root, killing the dot PocketBase serve, that got rid of everything above it. I think. But
Yeah.
maybe. Okay. Cool. So let me try running it again. Okay. It ran. No errors. Let's do a reload. Page loaded. Hey, got my data. All right. And I
Yeah.
think probably logins and registers and everything are going to work now too because it's through auth. The about page loads, so markdown marked is working. So that's great.
Right
Okay.
on.
Well, that's great. I know I wanted a little bit. I don't know if this could be a quick comment or something from you, but I've got loading data like in my index, so I use like PB collection providers, get full list. I'm assuming I can use all of those SDK things to like push changes and like
Yeah.
handle form requests and make modifications at post
Yeah.
and
I
push.
haven't tested every aspect of the library, but everything that I have tried so far works how it would work on the client, like in a browser.
And I've
So
wondered, like, I was thinking about using HTMX and having, like, using this XAPI folder and starting to put in some, um, like API endpoints that would return partial, partial bits of stuff. Um, like the list of providers, for example, or handling like pagination and going through all that. Or would it be better, do you think, at the top level, like in the script server content, to just pull the data in server side, like on the server render, and then push it in? I think that maybe that's a question I just have to ask myself, but I don't know. Like
yeah, you're trying
like
to
what?
decide client versus server?
Well, do I handle it? Do I handle something as like grabbing the results of the query as a partial, of just, for example, like just the li or just the ul or just the like table rows of part, and then use htmx to like inject that into the table body higher up and have it do updates with like, because you can do through htmx, I could do like a post or a get or whatever and pass
Mm,
queries parameters in and then get back some filtered set from the api endpoint,
right.
or try to put that logic up, like make functions and handle it up in the server
Mm,
Yeah, well, then I'd have to reload the page basically to get updates. Like if I changed a filter, for example, let's say I have a whole bunch of products or there's items available in the network, and I want to filter that set to like just give me the eggs. Like, do I handle that client side and try to do filtering on some big data set, or can I hit the API endpoint and say,
I mean, you could,
you know,
yeah, either one would
give
work.
me back just the set of eggs or whatever?
Yeah, client side filtering is sometimes faster. Saves you that round trip. But
Because
that
because I
would
could have views, right? I could have like view queries or something in PocketBase that can
right.
return filtered sets based on some tag parameter or category or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, you could do that too.
I'm going to mess
You have
with
to
that a
play
little
with
bit.
it.
That's,
Yeah,
that's my next. That's kind of my next step. Is how I want to interact with that. So, I'm getting some network issues. I think it's probably my side. I'm connected to space through satellite, so I'm gonna I'm gonna probably get going here. And
yeah.
uh,
Well,
I
thanks again,
really
brother. This
appreciate the
was
time. This has been great. Yeah.
another great session. So yeah, keep me posted on your progress. I'm glad I was able to get you updated on Pocket Pages because that would have been really frustrating to try on your own. So that was really helpful for me. And then you also helped me with like just showing me Git pods. It was great.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see if it makes sense, and if going that Git submodules route is a good way to kind of pull bits, sort of pull bits into a higher level project
Yeah, cool.
for development.
All right.
Okay,
Well, enjoy your
thank
Sunday,
you.
and we'll drop
You
off
too.
now. See ya.
All right, see you later.